This is Harley Hartwell, and you're listening to the Case Closed Podcast.
You are listening to a brand new episode of the Case Closed Podcast. I'm your host, Professor C, and of course, as usual, we have a lot to talk about. I'll talk about a little bit something today. Obviously, this is kind of an on-the-whim sort of podcast that we're doing. I'm recording this really in shock by what I'm seeing. Really, it seems like on a every other week to 3-week basis with Conan lately, and as far as the English dub is concerned, and what Bang Zoom is doing, and really what TMS is allowing to happen right now. It's really crazy when you think about it. That really 2 years ago, this series basically was left for dead as it pertains as far as an English dub here in the States. It really seemed as if it was, in most cases, left for dead. And so, really, I think this past even 6 months has just been a interesting turn for it, in the sense that we have seen so much content. And I know I'm kind of just jumping in here, but we have seen so much Conan content. It's been absolutely insane. And we haven't covered it really nearly enough, and I think sometimes I'm waiting for the dust to settle to a certain degree before I, kind of launch and talk about it. But it just seems like as if it just doesn't seem to stop at any point. So I've allowed a decent amount of time to kind of go by before really sitting down and recording this. And, what brings me to recording this tonight really is a couple of things. I just saw a new trailer for Detective Conan, The Scarlet Bullet, and it looks like this is going to be a film that opens in multiple languages at the same time. And I think a lot of people are wondering maybe why that is. I think the really cool part about that is that, different countries, different regions are going to see all this around the same time, maybe even the same day opening worldwide. I never know. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm watching the trailer, and I see the English portion of this at the beginning, and then it takes you through the other languages and that it will be featured in. So, really, this is really something in the making. I think a lot of this is due to the coronavirus and the fact that the film was delayed by a year already. If these different regions were going to release different speaking versions of this, they certainly had more time to develop those versions if that was going to happen in the first place. So we all have to wonder, I think, especially, English speakers, I think over here, what does that release mean? Is it a theater or a theatrical release? Is it another digital release that we have seen so much of lately, really coming from TMS, or yet another Blu-ray right off the bat by Discotech? Either way, whatever's in English and that does come out digitally, very safe to assume that Discotech is going to follow up and go ahead and do a Blu-ray. It's just the question on the timetable of that, it's in question. So looking at that is always a trip for the most part. So as we kind of dive off on this, I want to just talk a little bit about what's happened the last few months. So we've had, literally in the last 3 months, we have had movies 21, 20, well, I'll just go in order, I guess, to be a little bit correct in the order. We've had movies 19, 20, and 21 all come out within a 3-month span, all on digital. Movie 21 did have a Blu-ray release through Discotech as well, and we've always liked to highlight those releases really as we go and talk about them on the Facebook page and post news about them, where you can get them. We're very big on that and supporting the official releases. And so every time a movie is announced or there's something that drops, we always link to it so people can get the information, can purchase the film, or pre-order it in some of the cases that we had, last year with episode 1, movie 22 and 21. putting the pre-order links through Right Stuff or any other area that you could pick it up, like eBay was doing copies for a while too. It looks like Discotek still offers that option as well. So really cool stuff there, and really cool offerings overall. So overall, the past 3 months, like I say, 19, 20, and 21 have come out, but 19 and 20 specifically have been digital releases, and they have seemingly really come out of nowhere. Not with any initial hype behind it, not with anything crazy. It's just something that just drops, or we learn about it within a couple of days, or somebody in the Safe Case Closed community. Typically, we've had a couple of people find this and then link it to me, and then I repost it and credit that person for finding the information. But not a lot of, a heads up, I guess, on these releases really launching and coming out. So really, 19 and 20 have been a little odd, but I will say from a release standpoint, they're odd. As far as the dubs themselves, they are fantastic. It seems like every dub they do, they're making improvements. 22 seemed like it might have been the first one because there were a little oddities, and it didn't seem like necessarily all the actors were 100% comfortable with their characters. And I think for us fans, it was a little strange because, a lot of people used to hearing the Funimation voices, for the years that they held the license. And you've got to remember, Funimation held the license to this show from 2003 to 2018. And so for 15 years, people really were used to hearing it a certain way in English. So that, I think, had a lot to do with how movie 22 was received. So I'm just going to put that out there as well. But you also look at when they did 21, major improvement in the quality, I thought, from the voicing. People just seem more comfortable at home with their characters. Wendy Lee nailed Conan by 21. I thought that we had Xander Mobus was really nailing Richard pretty good too, or Kogoro. So we had that. And then in 20 and 19, we really got to see a lot of really good acting, obviously out of some of the new castmates for Gin and Vodka, like Edward Bosco doing Vodka. And so, there's some really cool examples to kind of point to in 19 and 20, especially Griffin Burns doing Kaito Kid in movie 19. And so I really am so pleased as to where they're going with it. I really am. At the same time, I think a lot of fans are wondering what's next and what's the process going to look like for the series. I think it's really hard to say for sure what's coming. We do know that movie 24 definitely looks like it's getting an English dub. And then on Wikipedia, somebody had posted, and I know Wikipedia is not the greatest source, so bear with me. I'm not quoting this as gospel, but they're on the Wikipedia page. It does say there's an English dub that was produced by Bang Zoom, and it will release on May 22nd. I don't know if it's true. My gut tells me it is true because these last two movies seemingly came out of nowhere. And Discotek has already announced that more Conan is coming. So we already know that more releases for Conan are going to follow suit. The question is, which ones is it going to be? Is it going to be films like 19 and 20, maybe 23 or 24 going on with it? Will they announce multiple Blu-rays for the series at one time? There's so many questions as pertains to how Discotek is going to handle their releases that really is going to, dictate how long it is going to be for us to get a home version of this outside of the digital version of this, which I have picked up digital versions for 19, 20, and 21, along with the Blu-rays for 21 and 22 and episode 1, obviously. And so I really am shocked at what's happening, and then this global opening announcement. This could make Conan, if people are comfortable going into theaters by April, this could be, without question, the biggest launch of a Conan movie in the history of Conan launches, as far as in the theaters. If people are comfortable enough to go back out into theaters by then, and really, if it opens around the same time or within a couple of days of each other, In the States, the question I think would be, how limited would the release be if it was going to be in theaters? Would it be like a 2-day sort of ordeal, like what happened with the most recent Lupin movie? Or would it have a week to 2 weeks possibly to kind of sit in the theaters and cook a little bit? Really hard to say. I think either way, the limited release, if it is in fact a limited release, means that another Blu-ray or another digital release for the film will follow suit very shortly after. And you're talking about within a year, you could have possibly movies 23 and 24 released. And before July, which I suppose was the official release for Case Closed Episode 1, you'd have Case Closed Episode 1, you'd have movie 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 possibly within the same year. Released in English. How crazy is that? I don't think anybody could see that coming. Nobody could. I mean, you'd tell a fan that a year or 2 years ago, it would be very much out of reach. So, and it just begs the question, what is next for the series? Are we going to continue to see them once these two most recent films of 23 and 24, assuming 23 is released, if 23 and 24 are released, are they going to continue to go backwards into that movie catalog? Or will they try to do certain things as far as the television series? And a lot of people seem to kind of write off the series, the TV series aspect of it. I've said for years on this podcast that an Essentials collection would be really, really a good seller, I think, for the series if you did something called Case Closed Essentials, essentially, pardon the pun. But if you did something like that and just did key episodes or really important episodes, which you could easily fill 25 to 30 episodes with, and do something like that, and do even just a few collections like Volume 1, Volume 2, and do them in volumes like that, you could cover quite a bit of the important episodes that need to be covered, in addition to having the Episode 1 release and then having those other releases bundled in. You could even do some really cool interactive things with fans, even vote for the episodes that are going to, better yet, vote for the episodes that are going to go into this collection. What do you as fans want to see? If they could do something like that even, that would be fantastic. I don't know how open they would be to something like that, but I think I'd say improve relations with fans and to show of good faith to people out here who have waited a long time to see more Conan in English. I think that TMS would be doing themselves a great service with that by getting a little more interactive with the fans in regards to that and then running with it that way from there. I know there's a lot of licensing costs and everything that go into it, but it looks like they're really going after it right now with these films and the releases. And so it really begs the question, why not open the dialogue with the fans a little bit more to see what they're really looking for, especially if the movies are doing well. And, if you're releasing them in this quickly and at this pace, it's very hard to imagine that the films are not doing well as fast as they're putting them out on digital without even really announcing them hardly. They're just getting them out there and then advertising them through Twitter, Facebook, and online by the time they're already out there. So really, really cool to see this. This is the first time, really, we've seen an English dub since way back with the Singapore dub, which we had remastered this past year with the help of Joe Murray. 22 episodes that we did out of the 52 that they recorded. This is the first time that we have seen an English dub that fully uses those Japanese names in it, too. So I think that really is important to people over here as well that, maybe haven't seen the series. They won't have all sorts of confusion with the brand that really Funimation had helped create. Now, I love the Funimation dub, and I think that it does have a place for the series. If they start releasing episodes, I think that it would be important for them to go back and release those on a Blu-ray or some sort of special collection to pay homage to what that dub really was. Because, if you look at it, that original dub really has a lot to do with the series having such a good following here in the States and for it, coming back. Fans of what we do and talking about the series and bringing attention to it also has a lot to do with it. And communities that do parodies and fan dubs like ourselves, especially what people like Infinity Productions did as well, bringing not just a few episodes, bringing a lot of episodes, important episodes, and really getting the fandom excited and together and giving people an opportunity to dream about that there could be another English version of this show again. It is possible to happen. And it really, I think that a lot of that groundwork was laid by the time even Funimation was finished with it and gave fans an opportunity to really believe that this could happen again. So I really want to hear what everybody has to say. I am definitely going to be doing a lot more audio content. That doesn't necessarily mean a lot of podcast, 100%. I will be around, though, and talking about the series in some way, shape, or form, whether it's here or whether it's with Joe B. Reactions, who I did a podcast with, I guess, close to a year ago now. We would like to get together and do it again pretty soon, so you might see me with him cutting it up and talking about the series pretty soon. But I really want to know what fans are thinking and really what their reactions are to the dubs. I definitely plan on our coming episodes to really talk about the most recent releases that we haven't really talked about. We've talked a decent amount on 22 in the past, but I haven't really spoken on 19, 20, and 21 in any form, really, or on any other show. And so I will be taking some time to really dive into those and to talk about those and really just appreciate the work that's being done, because this isn't just the speedy dub, poor content. This stuff's being recorded and handled in a very professional way and with a lot of care from TMS and Bang Zoom and Discotech. They're all treating the property with a lot of respect now that I think that it rightfully deserves here in the States. And it's just so nice to see this, and it's nice to see the community very excited about it and very interactive about it. So obviously I would love to hear your comments, what you think is going on with the series, how you feel about it compared to how you felt maybe 5-10 years ago or even 2 years ago as it pertains to what's going on with the series. So please comment, like, subscribe. We're really excited about what's going on with the Conan property in general at this time. And the 1000th episode is coming fast and furious, a reboot of the Moonlight Sonata case, which will be episodes 1000 and 1001. So look out for that on Crunchyroll, and we will talk to you guys next time here on the Case Closed podcast. Take care, everybody. I want to thank everybody for listening to this episode of the Case Closed podcast. If you like what you heard here, head on over to our Facebook and Twitter page to give us a like and a follow. And for more extra special content that you can't get anywhere else, subscribe to our Patreon page. Take care, guys, and we'll see you later.